Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. This is it.
This is Top Flight Time Machine. I am Andy Hotbody Dawson. Pow, pow, pow.
I'm Sam Nifty Delaney. So what?
Welcome along. It's the Monday morning episode. But if you subscribe to the IFS, you get it on Sunday evenings. Imagine that.
That'll cheer you up on your Sunday nights when you're sitting fretting about things. We were just talking about how, even for us, men of relative leisure, Sundays still have the ability to discombobulate you and stress you out a bit.
Stress the fuck out of us. Yeah, I've had all sorts going on in the last hour, just involving making a Sunday dinner, getting me son down to his mum's house where he's staying tonight after I've given him said Sunday dinner. It was roast lamb, in case you're wondering.
Oh, lovely.
And then getting back and sitting down to do this. You know, people think we have an easy life, Sam, us podcasters, but working on a Sunday evening, that's just for fools and vicars.
Yeah, exactly. And Sunday night's stressful for us as much as anyone. But that's why, as we just described it, sometimes you got to get down to the very serious business of adding pizzazz to the lives of both our listeners and ourselves.
Yeah, we're entertained by doing these.
I can tell you, the moment I press record and give you the verbal signal that I'm recording, which will remain part of.
Don't tell them what that is.
That's
some of it must remain secret.
That's it. Then, like, my troubles temporarily float away, Andy.
Wash away. Same here.
Because
Same here,
when
Sam.
I press that record button and begin talking, I feel myself plug in to a community of like-minded cunts. Yeah.
Each and every one a cunt.
And there's something comforting in that.
Including us. There is. Anyway, what are we waffling on about? What you got? Anything?
Well, on my... Actually, I haven't made a list, but off the top of my head, I will tell you briefly some of the things that are worth thinking about. I had the situation with my father continues to cause me some anxiety, but also amusement in equal measure.
Yeah.
It led to a... What's the word? Verbal confrontation with my uncle, who has made the odd appearance on this podcast. One particular uncle, who, you know, nice guy, love him, but sometimes not the easiest to deal with, much like his brother, my dad. So they're quite a pair.
Weird, yeah.
I had to speak to him regarding my dad's situation, and won't lie, swear words were exchanged over the phone on Friday.
Whoa.
It was all right because all's well that ends well. It ended with me telling him I loved him and him telling me he loved me back. So sometimes only conflict can lead to that, because I don't know whether ordinarily I would end a call with my uncle by saying I love you and him saying I love you too, and us saying really nice things. Very occasionally a little bit of conflict can lead to a bit of beauty at the end of it.
This is it. Sometimes there's tension that builds up, isn't there, in situations, and one side doesn't realise that the other side is being unreasonable, perhaps. And then it needs a bloodletting.
There was a bloodletting. There was a bloodletting, and I think it ended as well as it could have done. I was pleased with one bit where he said, "I don't like your tone," and I said, "Good, you're not supposed to."
Way.
But other than that, it was just 6 to 1.5 does the other. It was fairly entertaining. And then I had my Friday night curry. I had another. I think it might be because I'm very stressed at the moment. I've got a few things going on that are causing me stress, and I was on the train yesterday. I went into the West End with my daughter.
Yeah,
a little bit of shopping and something to eat, and on the way back, I was on a very crowded train, very crowded. There was, protests or marches or whatever you want to call it going on in town, and so there was quite a lot of people on the tube. And one guy I got on the train holding my daughter's hand. My daughter's 16, she's not a little girl, but nevertheless, when you're in a situation where there's like a lot of people on the train, it's quite a stressful.
Yeah.
And this guy, just a middle-aged guy, I pushed him in front, tried to pull her behind me, and he thought, fuck this, and he pushed him in front of her, breaking our handling.
Broke the chain.
Broke the handling. She was fine, she got on anyway, and then we were standing in the aisle i.e. between the two sets of seats facing each other, and it was chocker. And I realised that the problem was, right, that he had been divided not through my own fault, but just through the fault of what was going on the train from his wife, right? Now, when I say old, they were middle-aged, late middle-aged, like older than me. Let's say maybe 60, something like that. And maybe a bit older, but, not decrepit, not disabled or anything like that. Like, don't worry, this doesn't end in me belting him. But it got my goat because he'd pushed in front of my door. It was a massive deal. I thought, it's a bit fucking much, mate. We're all getting on. Just wait your turn. And then we're standing in the aisle, and I'm standing next to his wife, I discovered, and he wasn't happy with that. So he wrestled and clambered his way down the aisle, past my daughter, then past me, so he could squeeze himself in between me and him. And I thought to myself, you're causing all this fucking mayhem and pushing in front of people because you want to stand next to your wife for like 3 stops. Like, what fucking difference does it make? You fucking tourist, right? I've got the right and we've done it with he's looked at me, I've looked at him. I said, you all right, mate? He said, yeah. I went, do you want to hold my fucking hand, do you? And he went, no, mate, I'm fine. I'm fine, thanks very much. And then that was that. And I thought, oh, why did I ask him that? And then I remembered it was like sometimes things get said to you and they resonate. And I remembered at West Ham Arsenal it's got to be about 25 years ago now. We'd lost a game to Arsenal midweek. I think it was the FA Cup. If there's Hammers listening, they'll probably lampard me on this about the year. But it was a long time ago. And we'd lost, I think, in a penalty shootout or something, in a replay against Arsenal. But everyone was in a really, really miserable mood. One of those FA Cup, when it's a replay and it's gone the full distance, and so it's Wednesday night, but you're heading home and it's like midnight. Do you know what I mean? And I used to be like an hour away from home as well. And you're like, fucking hell. It's like, I don't know about you, but sometimes I've been in replays where I'm thinking, fucking hell, this is dragging on. I don't care at this stage. Just let it end one way or the other. Anyway, it was one of those, and we'd lost, and everyone was really pissed off. And outside Upton Park Station, they used to be, basically, they'd make you queue effectively single file. And it was only a little station, so it would stretch out the station, then along the side of the station, and then all the way down the street to practically the next station along, really.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And it would be very often over a mile long. But you could jump over the barrier when the police weren't looking and just sort of duck down into the queue at an earlier stage. And no one ever minded or grasped you because they knew what it was like. So my mate jumped over, and I was like, if I wait for an hour here, I'm going to miss the last train home. So I jumped over, and no one had ever complained before, and he was 2 people ahead of me. So I thought, I'll just fucking sneak up there to stand with him. And I did. And this fucking bloke, terrifying, fucking enormous older guy, went, where do you think you're going? And I always remember, I said, I was so shocked because usually on a normal night, no one would care, but I think everyone's mood was so low and so bad that people were like just fucked off, right? And I just always remember going to him, I want to stand next to me, mate. And it was like the whole queue heard. There was hundreds of people, and it was just like, I could have phrased it a million other ways, but it was just the way it squeaked out at me, I want to stand next to me, mate. And I pointed at me, mate, and he went, oh, do ya? What a fucking old hands with him, do ya? Get to the fucking back like everyone else. Oh, sorry. And I scuttled back behind him. And my mate fucking all the way home.
Come on, then. Old hands. Come on, let's see it.
It was like, come on, show everyone.
Yeah.
And all
give
the
him
way
a
home,
little
my mate's
kiss,
like
don't
going, I want to stand next to me, mate. And he goes, you want to fucking hold hands? You're pushing because you want to hold hands. So I sort of reappropriated it slightly different because I accused this man of wanting to hold hands with me. I got a bit muddled up. But I remember feeling such deep humiliation that it obviously like bubbled back into me at the last
in your
minute
subconscious,
yesterday.
yeah. It's come to the surface again.
And I thought
You've
that's
passed
where
it
that's
on.
come from. But you know, like it didn't turn ugly. He just sort of laughed and went, "No, I'm fine, thank you very much. I do not want to hold hands with you." I thought, thank God. Imagine if he'd said yes. He should have said yes. He should have said yes. Actually, I do want to hold hands with you. So let's fucking hold hands. And then he should have grabbed my hand and squeezed it.
So did you say he was a
I was
tourist?
just in a bad
he,
mood.
do you think he was a tourist then, or was he a
No, he wasn't
Londoner?
even a tourist. He had a London accent. And I was a bit like, what the fuck? What are you fucking doing all this for? You obviously just get on the train and fucking stand where you are. Don't clamber around on a crowded train to try and get into the spot where you want to be next to your... You can tell I was in a bad mood. None of this really matters at all. But I was just grumpy. I think I've just been a bit grumpy.
I mean, that's the thing. That's people for you. That's what can happen. But you never know. He might have... she might have had anxiety issues. He might have had anxiety issues. They might have felt as though they need to be together all the time. I'm playing devil's advocate here. He might have just been an arsehole.
But he should have said, "Excuse me." He literally just he pushed him around my door, and then he clambered like it was an emergency, like it was fucking 9/11.
Yeah, when
he was clambering over bodies.
Yeah, when clambering's involved, that's out of
I was
order.
like, mate, don't clamber. Can't you read? Look at that sign up there. What's it say? No clambering.
Yeah,
right.
There's a red circle with a line through it, and there's a silhouette of a man clambering over another person.
Oh, talking of clambering, I saw a tweet. Very rare these days that you see a whimsical tweet that amuses you, right? But I saw one yesterday. Apologies, I can't remember who tweeted it. Unlikely to be someone who listens to this podcast anyway, so it don't matter. But she said about something that you don't... You know when people do those, you don't see this anymore, like you used to in the 80s. And she said, you never see in films someone waking up late trying to put their trousers on as they run across the room, only getting one leg in and then just falling over. And she said that used to happen in every 80s film. And I said, yeah, I can picture it.
Don't see it
I
anymore.
probably haven't worded it as well as she did, but I can
I
picture
know
that.
exactly what you mean. I can envisage it, yeah.
Like every John Hughes movie sort of started with that. Someone waking up, their lift was outside, the other teenagers were outside beeping from their convertible. And then they wake up, and their alarm clock was always a baseball alarm clock, wasn't it?
Yeah, it will have been. Yeah. God, yeah.
I wouldn't mind one of them. Here's the other thing I want to report, though. In lighter news that's not involving myself in conflicts, but may still be associated to my high levels of stress right now. I've eaten a lot of puddings this weekend, Andy. A lot of puddings, and I'm not sure how to feel about it right now. I mean, I've eaten a lot of pudding. And
can you run through the ones you've had? And I'll rate them if you want.
Well, yesterday I had, I was on my way back from somewhere with my son in the mid-morning, about 11. I hadn't had much of a breakfast because we'd gone out early, and on the way home stopped for a coffee. And he always gets something, like we do this every Saturday morning, and I get a coffee and he gets something small to eat. And I hadn't had much of a breakfast, so I ordered myself a small cake, and it was lemon flavoured. I had a small cake. I had a small, a slice, let's say, of lemon cake from a cafe, and I ate it in the street, and it felt good, right? Because I don't usually have a bit of street cake, and I thought that was good, fair enough, I deserved it. And I had it with a coffee and it felt good. But then that afternoon I went out with my daughter, same trip that I'm talking about. And we were walking along and we walked past this tea room in Soho. Or coffee shop tea room. And it had the most extravagant looking fucking cakes in the window I've ever seen. Right. It's amazing. I can't remember what it's called. I hadn't been in Soho for a while, but it's called... But it was... It was on Old Compton Street, if you're interested. Anyway, we looked in the window, and it was so amazing. It was the sort of place you end up taking pictures of the cakes because they're so outrageous, yeah? And in the end, I went, fucking hell. I was going to get a coffee to go from somewhere. Should we go in there? And she said, yeah. And I thought, fuck it. Do you know what? And I forgot I'd had a bit of lemon cake that morning. By now
Right.
it's about 4:00. Yeah, and I was like,
Well, that's enough
fuck
time
it.
to have passed for you not to have for that not to matter. Surely you can have two sittings
the size of this
pudding
piece
the
of
same
cake.
day.
It was. They had all these cakes in the window. So you order your coffee, and then they go, if you want a bit of cake, go up there and point it out, because we haven't got a menu. So I go up, and
Point
this
it.
cake was
Point.
It was
Speak as well, or just point.
It was pistachio cake. It was green pistachios, and then it had like, I can't remember what flavour the icing was, but anyway, it was amazing. It had cream in it too, right? It was layered, and it was like a
Right.
triple decker with grain sponge, but like layers of cream in between. And I said, I'll have a slice of that. And they cut it, and it was like a brick, Andy. And I absolutely demolished the cunt. I demolished it. Like, it didn't touch the sides.
Can,
right?
can I ask? This is a personal question. Can I ask how much you paid for this slice of cake?
Well, actually, I don't remember, but I do have a. I took a copy of the receipt precisely because I wanted to remember the name to tell my wife later. So, seeing as you ask, I will look it up.
It's very good of you. Thank you.
Let's have a look here. Okay, right. I'll also send you a picture of the cake, which will be no use to the listeners. But okay, pistachio and rose cake. Here we go. The place is called Leto, L''ETO, right? And oh my god. Okay, pistachio and rose cake. I mean, it's a high-class place. You can tell that because it's got an apostrophe in the name. So,
Yeah.
do you want to hazard a guess at a slice of London West End cake?
Jalapeño.
Here's a brief but annoying message to let you know that you wouldn't be hearing this brief but annoying message if you were a subscriber to our Iron Filing Society Patreon offering.
For the price of a pint and a St Clement's each month, you can get up to 4 episodes a week, 9 months before the rest of the world gets them. Early access to regular episodes, lots of other marvellous benefits, and there's absolutely no adverts or brief but annoying messages like this that will get right on your ticks.
Find out more and subscribe now at tftimemachine.com/ironfilings.
Jalapeño. Jalapeño.
I've just Googled it and I'm now looking
yeah.
at a photograph of the window and it's
Yeah, can
full
you see?
of cakes and fancies.
These are
and
some
all
of the
kinds
fanciest
sweet
cakes you've
treats.
ever seen. I mean, it's fair to say that's one of the most fancy array of cakes of all time, isn't it?
Well, hey.
Okay,
Wow.
I'll tell you, because it won't
Go
say
on.
on the website, because they said didn't have a menu. It was £8.50.
Right, because I was just wondering how it would compare to the vegan sausage roll in that park
Much more.
cafe the
but
other week.
much more worth it. The vegan
Yeah.
sausage roll, this was just like a park cafe. It thought it was more than it was. And also, I wasn't like, I didn't see it as an indulgence or a treat. I was just hungry and I wanted a snack. And I just thought, £5.80 for a sausage roll is a fucking piss take. But this cake, I mean, I'm going to send you a picture of it now. And you'll be, I mean, actually, the picture doesn't do it that much justice, but you'll get the idea, mate. It's
Hope the listeners
unreal.
are enjoying this bit of admin.
Yeah, well,
that we're
don't
doing.
worry, listeners. I'll try to remember to put this on Twitter or Instagram.
Here it comes.
So
Photographs come
I
through.
felt that although it is overpriced, it was it was a special treat. It was a
Oh
special
my.
treat.
Look at that. Look at the green. The
Well,
green
no,
filling.
vibrant, very
Yeah,
vibrant, isn't it?
some blackberries on top as well.
There's a blackberry, and actually, you know, that's cream in between. On top, that's you know, when you get like a sort of, it's not a butter icing, it's an icing that you think has been made with like cream cheese.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Slightly cheesecakey. So that was an extra layer of indulgence to
Looks
it.
fantastic.
It was incredible. I'll show you what my daughter had now as well. Great. Cake Chat may be the title of this episode. So that was that, right? But I'm not
There it
done yet,
is.
Andy. I'm ashamed, but sometimes getting
Oh,
the
that looks
shame
good
out
as
there.
well.
I'm not usually a big pudding person on the whole. I don't have. I try not to have sugar most days.
It's in your Twitter bio, isn't it? Sam Delaney, not a big pudding person.
I mean, I
It
can
says it
be.
there.
I take self-control. I'm not
Generally
saying,
not a big pudding
I'm one of
person.
those people who don't like sweet things. I do, but I make a big effort to avoid it because I can go on a binge. And yesterday was a binge. It's as simple as that. Because
So
when
there
I
was a
got
third
home,
pudding in the day.
there was a third pudding. When I got home, my
Can I call this episode 3 Puddings Sam?
yeah, when I was out, my wife, we've got a roster going on to go round visit my dad while he's healing, and my wife was going round there, and she had very kindly made him some apple crumble, homemade apple crumble, because she knows he likes apple crumble, right?
Yeah.
There was some left over.
Well, what could you do?
There was Tesco's finest custard, which I think was one of the custards we tested earlier in the year in our grand custard testing.
I think it was the one that won the southern section that you were in charge of.
Yeah, I think it might, but no, the M&S one won the southern.
Oh, right, yeah.
But it was, there was some of that. You know, the very pale type of custard that you can see the little bits of black vanilla pod in?
Yeah.
They call it Ponce's custard up north. So there was a tub of Ponce's custard and she said she didn't know that I'd had 2 cakes. She said, "Do you want some of this crumble?" And I went, "I better not. I've had 2 bits of cake today." And then once she said it, Andy, I couldn't stop it. I couldn't settle. I could not settle. Couldn't settle on the sofa.
You fidgeting.
So I got up and after half an hour of trying not to think about it, I got up and I served myself a bowl. I put some custard on it and I microwaved it.
Did you clamber on your way towards it?
I clambered, and everyone knew. Everyone else in the family could see. As soon as I started to move, they were
clambering.
We knew it was a matter of time. We were all keeping an eye. We'd all had a little bet about what minute he'd fucking buckle and start clambering. The Great Crumble Clamber, they called it. And I had that. So that's a 3 pudding day. And today I went to my mum's for Sunday lunch and I had a bit of pudding there as well. So this has been a 4 pudding weekend. And although it brought me pleasure in the moment, it's making me feel pretty ashamed now.
Have you got like a pudding hangover now?
I do. Emotionally and physically. I feel a bit nauseous in my stomach, but emotionally I feel a little bit of guilt and don't feel great about myself, but that's just the way it's gone.
Sam, don't beat yourself up about it, honestly. As long as you don't make a regular thing of it, you're not on 4 puddings every weekend or like 6 puddings in week Monday to Friday. Don't, you know. I mean, what even constitutes a pudding is the question. You know.
Yeah.
I bought that Christmas cake on Thursday.
The 2 bits of cake weren't puddings because they didn't come after a meal. There was that street cake I had in the morning.
Yeah, that's a pudding. I've seen a picture of it. That's a pudding. That's not.
No.
I was going to compare it.
You haven't seen that. That was a smaller slice that I had in the street in the morning.
Oh, I've got confused. There's so many. Sorry.
And then what you've seen is the afternoon one, which it's a pudding.
Yeah. Yeah, I got confused because, as I said on Friday, I've started. Christmas has begun. I'm slowly easing myself into Christmas, like an old man gently getting into a hot bath. And I've started by getting one of those blocks of fruit cake with icing on the top from Sainsbury's. But it's Christmas cake in all but name. It doesn't have Christmas cake on it anymore because they don't do that. They don't put fucking Easter eggs. The words Easter eggs on Easter eggs anymore.
Year round, don't they?
Yeah, but anyway, so I've worked my way through that over a period of 3 days. I've had a third of it each day. Okay. And I should have had a quarter. I've overdone it. But
well, the thing about Christmas cake is it doesn't half last. I mean, that's the good thing about it. It's like with a sponge cake, you've got to get that fucking done. You've got to get that out the way in like 2 days because if not, it'll start to go dry.
Especially with fresh cream in it, yeah.
But I mean, a fucking Christmas cake, that can go on and on. You could go quarters or even less a day, but who's going to do that once you've had a taste of it?
Yeah. I think I'll move on next to the... I'll move on to the Lidl one next to Aldi because they always get highly rated.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Christmas taste test.
I'm already doing it. I think
custard.
I've just blindly walked into it. That's where I'm at now.
Well, think of another Christmas thing that we could test as we get closer because the custard testing was quite popular. I can't have Baileys. We can have mince pies, mind you. I think mince pies could be a good thing
because all of the supermarkets do their own different brand of Baileys, don't they? And they always there's always these fucking articles on mirror.co.uk and says there's been a blind taste test and that Lidl has beaten Baileys in the
Baileys.
It's fucking bullshit. You go out and then you buy a bottle and it's half the price, and you have it, and it's not as good. It's thin. It's dribbly.
Thinny, yeah.
It doesn't taste as
Baileys
smooth.
it's got a nice pour to it, hasn't it?
Baileys is a brilliant drink. Fucking hell.
Just a quick side note. I've realised I've just accidentally exposed myself to Lampards.
What?
Imagine that. If there's Lampards out there listening, think how much you're now compromising mine and Andy's output. That I can't say anything. Neither of us can say anything without half thinking, what's a Lampard potentially going to say to that? And I said, we'll test mince pies. And I've just remembered that actually I have to get vegetarian mince pies because suet, which is a main component of a classic mince pie, is pig stomach lining, which I don't have a problem with, but I choose not to eat it. So yeah, just for any of the Lampards out there, no, we won't be taste testing that because of the suet, so I won't be able to try all the same ones as Andy. Thank you, I know. I've saved you a tweet or even maybe a Patreon comment.
God, yeah, it's depressing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fuck.
This is where we're at now, mate.
I don't think
It's
it's just
woke
us. I think
gone mad.
It's everything. Yeah, that's where it is. It's everywhere. It's not just with us. But yeah, what else has been going on? I went to a vintage market thing in Hexham in Northumberland.
Oh, Hexham, yeah.
On Saturday morning. And it sounded really good. It's done by the same people who organise the midweek car boot sale that I sometimes go to in Corbridge. Now, a midweek car boot sale is the height of decadence, I think you'll agree.
Yeah.
You know, a car boot sale on a Wednesday morning. Fucking hell, what?
Yeah, madness.
Life's going well when you can
Yeah, you're doing a Wednesday night car boot, yeah.
Wednesday morning, yeah. So anyway, these same people do like a vintage and antique.
I tell you what, if that's not levelling up, I don't know what is. Anyway, go on.
Thank you, Mr. Gove, for all you've done for us. Yeah, I went to that and it was fucking rubbish, mate. It was absolute rubbish. You know what I'm after? I'm after one of them mantelpiece clocks.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? Like the quite wide ones. It's got like the face in the middle and it's got like wings
and
kind of at the
wood.
side.
Is it wood?
Wood.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm after one of them. I couldn't get one. Well, there was one, but it was shit. But the whole place, it was £3 to get in, and there was about 9 stalls once I got in. Nine stalls. That's what, 30 pence a stall? I don't know. Didn't buy anything. Absolute shit. So,
well, I'm
I don't know what the point is I'm trying to make. There isn't one. I'm just advising people.
I'll go to the... there's one I've got my eye on that last time I got rejected from, if you remember, because I had a dog and I didn't have a pound coin.
Yeah.
So, but I've got my eye on that next time round, which will be a couple of weeks now. But I'll keep an eye out. Are they still ongoing?
Is the outdoor car boot sale still a thing, or was yours an indoor one?
No, it's outdoor year round.
Year round?
Yeah.
Well, even in January?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. That sounds bleak.
It's been going for years as well, because me and my good wife, when we were younger, we used to even do it. We used to do it. Have you ever done it? Like, where you do one of the stalls? I got too scared, because when you get there and you open up your boot, first of all, we were like, you're still in your 20s where you don't quite understand what getting up early actually is. You think getting up early at the weekend is getting up at 8, right? Because you haven't had kids yet, so you've got no fucking idea what early 11, rising means. Yeah. And so we'd always get there and every single spot would be gone, because proper fucking car boot sellers get there at like... Yeah, exactly. And so we'd get there always the last, so that'd be a bit humiliating. But when you open the boot, fucking hell, it's like locusts, mate. People do not fuck around. They do not wait. And I open the boot of my car, and you go to go, I've got my little wallpapering table. I'm going to set that up, and then I know exactly how I'm going to lay everything out all neat. Right? Fuck that, you must be joking, mate. You're not going to get a chance to do any of that shit. The moment your boot is over an inch open, there will be a bunch of geezers jumping into the fucking boot, pushing you out of the way, and going through they'll practically take the fixtures and fittings out of your car.
How much do you want for this, mate?
Yeah, and they'll be shouting at you,
hold on. The shop isn't open yet.
And I'll go, actually, I wanted £6 for that. And I go, fuck off, and just throw it back at you really aggressively. unbelievable scenes. And people laughing in your face over, like, what you believe. Because I was, look, I was an amateur. I was naive, right? And you'd have something you thought was really good. Yeah? Like, I can't remember, like, a piece of fucking very decent, like, let's say electrical equipment, right? Like a clock radio. You think, I don't need that anymore, but it still works. Like, how much of this, mate? And you go, opening thing, you might go, £4, right? And people literally, like, look at you like you've just asked to sort of have it off with their mum, right?
Yeah.
And they go, £4. You go, yeah, how much are you thinking? And they'd say something mental like, I'll give you 20 pence for that. And I'd go, no. And they'd just go,
isn't it?
and just laugh like, well, you're a bit wet behind the ears, cunt. See you later. And then, of course, they'd come back round again right at the fucking arse end of the car boot where you just want rid of stuff because they all know you're just trying to get rid of it because it's fucking cramming up the house.
Well, by that time you sell everything for 10 pence, don't you?
Yeah. Still got your still got that clock radio that you reckoned you were going to never got your £4? No? No, I didn't. Some people came close. Oh, came close, did they? Well, I tell you what, how much did I offer you for it earlier? 20 pence if I recall correctly. Yeah, well, I'll give you fucking 10 for it now. Very well. Give me the 10 pence. You pig.
You got to change your £1. Oh!
Yeah. So it's a tough game. It is a fucking tough game. But luckily, we have a family friend who's a pro. So now if I want anything car booted, I give it to her. And we'll like maybe split it in her favour because she has to do the hard work. She'll give me a cut.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That could be my future. Could start doing the Wednesday morning car boot. Anything you want selling, mate, send it up. I'll sell it.
If you do it for other people as well, then you'll always have good stock. You just send an email around to your mates, say anything you want flogging, drop it around my house by Tuesday night, and I'll get it sold.
I'll get up there.
Yeah,
I might do that. It's a good
not
career.
a bad way to make
option.
a living.
When the podcasts dry up, I'll tell you what, we'll leave it there because fucking hell, it's Sunday evening, and
I've had a lot of pudding. So
you've had a lot of puddings this weekend. You need to wind down.
I know. I'm worried to go back in the house in case there's more pudding there. I don't trust myself. Do you remember when Nick Cotton had to like barricade himself into his mum's spare room because he didn't trust himself to get out and not take heroin?
With the heroin. Yeah.
But then in the end, he did break out and kill that pub landlord. So hopefully I won't be doing anything like that, like breaking out the Vita Modular, climbing over the back gate and killing a neighbour in return for a fucking bit of Swiss roll.
Yeah, it could put the podcast in jeopardy, I think. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's coming up to Christmas. And we did a couple this week of the video messages that we do in case anybody wants one of them doing for Christmas. Or you want one doing for one of your mates who's a listener. Go to tftimemachine.com/video messages. Have a look at the instruction and we'll do a personalised video message.
Yeah, and I've got a Santa hat that I'll be wearing in them. And I'm also...
we'll do that if it's Christmas specific,
seriously thinking for Christmas specific ones of getting some sleigh bells, so think on.
Right. Just a bit of feedback from one of the ones he did this week. The customer replied in the email with, "That is fantastic." So there you go. That's a level of what you can expect.
Hopefully it'll be on Trustpilot. TFGM video messaging. Yeah, 5 stars.
Yeah. All right, and there we go. Thanks for listening. We'll be back throughout the week. If you're IFS, we'll be back with Khrushchev in America. What's the other thing we're doing? What's the thing we're doing on Wednesdays?
Is it
the book of the Protection
Odyssey?
The Protection Odyssey.
Enjoyable.
And
very
of course,
enjoyable.
Roy of the Rovers. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.